in order to go accomplish what we needed A, people to kind of build the thing, and B, money to pay those people and fund some of the work that needed to happen. And I think this is a situation that a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves in. It's kind of a chicken or the egg. How do you get people if you don't have money? But then how do you get money if you don't have the people to go build? And that kind of formed the basis of a really long fundraise from the early summer of 2015 until the end of that year when we were finally able to raise money. I had never raised money, and there's a lot of strategy and gamification and process that goes into raising money well, and I was learning those things on the fly. And so investors thought the vision was great and exciting, but the path from, hey, here's this great idea to, do I believe you can get it to market even? Forget about selling it, but can you get it to market? Right. I'm pretty skeptical. I ended up meeting with like 75 to 80 people in person. And then number of phone calls was some factor of that. So maybe 150 or 200. And then God knows how many emails I sent out that either there was back and forth or they were totally ignored. So it was a ton of people. And the reality was like, hey, we had this great idea and I had the background to do some of it, but we were missing a lot of pieces. And so investors were pretty skeptical that we could make it a reality. And not to say there weren't points where I thought, is this going to happen? Am I going to be able to raise money? I never reached the point where I wanted to give up, but there were points where I questioned, how long is it going to take for this to happen? What's going to have to change? And fortunately, a bunch of things did happen that helped the process move along, but it was not easy. Something that feels super intimidating when you're first starting on this process is it feels like this super steep hill that you have to climb, and you have these meetings that seemingly go nowhere. Someone says no, and it's like, oh my God, how many of these am I going to have to talk to that will eventually bear fruit? And why am I talking to these people they're never going to fund us today? But investing that time and that effort up front will pay dividends down the road. And a lot of our funding has come from people that at some point said no to us. In our most recent round of funding, we said no to an investor because they did not treat our customer service team well. And that's not okay with how we run our business. We value our people above everything. And when I heard about the way they treated the customer service team, like that was a non-starter for me, regardless of who the investor was, how much money they wanted to put in. That's not the kind of person we wanted to partner with and not the kind of message that we wanted to send to our team. Now, having been in this world for a long time, the vast majority of companies, it's really hard to raise money. And so what I always tell founders starting early stage companies is, look, there is this rosy scenario, and I will paint for you how to try to make that happen. The reality is you're probably going to scratch and claw to get your first term sheet and get money in the door. And at the end of the day, if money's not in the door, you can't run your business. Like, you need to pay people, yourself, product, all these things. And so it's easy to sit back and say, hey, don't take money unless it fits all of these criteria. It's a lot harder to actually do that when it's, well, maybe the business won't exist if I don't take money from this person. And
Right.
So, it depends on the person and what is more important to you and the scenario. But I think it's hard to turn down money when it's super hard to come by. The single most impactful thing you can do that we have done with great success is come back at some point in time in the future, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or a year, and say, hey, do you remember that thing I told you I was going to do 3 months ago? Not only did I do that, but I went and did X, Y, Z on top of it. Because at the end of the day, at the early stages of a company, even now for our business, investors are underwriting the team's ability to execute. And when you go meet with an investor for the first time and say, hey, I've accomplished all these things in my life before, but you didn't know me at that point, and that should give you confidence that I'm going to go accomplish all these things in the future, it's a pretty long leap for them to take. And versus this saying that actually one of our investors says, it is much easier to invest across a line than on a dot. And if an investor sees you at multiple points in time, and every time you prove that you went and executed, as long as they believe in your initial vision, they're going to have more and more confidence that, hey, this person is going to keep executing and make it a reality.